You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we talking independent comics, but from someplace else. That's right. We got a big boss in the building, a creator, a director. He got some boss stuff coming out that we're about to show off and put you on to. Let me bring my man over here, the big boss himself, Wes Al-Dhaher. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming through. And it's something I fold over. So I appreciate your time when you reached out. I was thoroughly intrigued, talking about, doing something different. One of the first of your kind is, if you will, bringing English for English-speaking Muslim males in the Anglosphere, as you put it. Some new books, more in tune and of course, maybe more respectable to the culture, as opposed to how some of us over here get fed news about you guys. Unfortunately, it's sad, and I see it. I watch news from everywhere to really get a news, but I really hate American news. It's so different. I've watched some stuff from the Middle East, for example. I'm like, okay, very, very good reporting and done like they used to do it here at one time.
Yeah. Well, better. You don't even need reporting from the Middle East to be better than what we got here. You could just go to TikTok, just see what the young kids are putting out.
Well, absolutely. I see some crazy stuff, man. I mean, and their stories, and hey, listen, it ain't special effects. You're seeing it right there. I mean, Sora's not out yet, so don't try to say it's AI, folks. Start with this bullshit. Believe the story. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people that don't know who you are, introduce yourself a bit. Let us know where you're from originally, and what was the first thing in fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Man, the first thing in fandom that I ever fell in love with. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So for me, I'm Wes Al-Dhaher, director of Tales of Khayr and the visionary behind the Brotherhood of the Wolf comic book series. I'm a world wanderer, like kind of a global nomad. And so, every 7 years we moved, my family, all over the world, America, different states in America, Middle East. And now what I'm doing is I'm pioneering, professional comics. I think one of the first ones for English-speaking Muslim men. And our first book in the series is called The Lesser Evil, which I wanted to do something different, a little bit experimental with this first little short story. And it's going to be silent and grayscale. And kind of like akin to the wordless comics like G.I. Joe, the Silent Interlude, if you guys know about that. So kind of in that spirit. And so I guess, the question that I know that you guys are asking on yourselves is like, why now? And there's a number of reasons why we're doing this now. And one of them is economic forces, right? So it's much easier for independent creators to be able to push out books because of cost of printing and distribution, et cetera, than it was in the past. So we don't have to rely on the big dogs anymore. We don't have to rely on corporate publishers.
Preach. Isn't that the truth? That now it's really the golden age, if you will, of what is indie. It's you guys' opportunity. I've heard conversations of where some guys were approached by publishers that were doing Kickstarter stuff, and they were very good at what they were doing. Out of the 9 guys, apparently one of them said no. And but why? He goes, because I figured out the algorithm you use using me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I figured it out. I'm making good money. Why would I need to cut you in?
Exactly. Yeah. And, aside from that business reality you described, like just because of the whole editorial process that is not as good as it used to be in the past, now I like to, these publishers, I like to call them, like entertainment prevention departments. Because that's what they're kind of turning into, right? So that's their job.
Oh man, I love it. EPD in full effect, ruining, a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing. The other thing is like there's more of like a social reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing now, and because the genre that I'm in is fantasy, right? And there's a growing demand among fantasy fans to experience. They want to get a well, an endless well of original, unpredictable fantasy stories with reliable characters, unique settings, not this whole rehash of Middle Earth over and over and over and over again, with J.R.R. Tolkien, and then with characters that they care about, with intricate plots, like just good craft, and they're not getting that right now, and so there's demand there. And then the other thing is there's technological reasons, like with manga, it's becoming huge, and it's having even more of an impact with localization. So with localization now, when I was young, it was hard to read manga. You had to get your hands on like a fan-made translation, but now with localization, now there's more access to people looking at what's coming out with manga, and those stories are great. They're fresh, they're unique, they're a lot different than the typical superhero stuff you're getting from the US. And so that's kind of to say, hey, I want more from if it's fantasy genre, I want more from my fantasy. I want they have higher standards now, right? And so really the core of what I'm doing with the Brotherhood of the Wolf, it's like for fantasy enthusiasts who are tired of cliches, who are looking for stories with kind of depth and cultural richness. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that sexy. We'll talk about all that in a minute. Oof, look at that.
Yeah. The Brotherhood of the Wolf is like really an innovative comic book series that's supposed to that will kind of suck you in, like authentic, unpredictable, immersive. And unlike a lot of the other traditional fantasy out there, whether comics or otherwise, right? Its goal is to break free of like the standard tropes that you see all the time in fantasy. So huge importance on rich character development, unique settings, and like an Islamicate perspective, like you mentioned in the beginning, that opens new doors in the fantasy genre. So even though like the core market for these folks are like Muslim men who like fantasy, particularly dark fantasy, it's really anybody can enjoy it. Like you don't have to be Muslim. You could be an atheist. My man Al, you could be a Satanist and like these stories. as long as you like fantasy, dark fantasy, these stories will resonate with you.
I'm digging it. So these fantasy stories, like, what's the research? What's the team building? How did everything come together? How did you put the glue on and start making this happen? When did you start making this happen initially?
Well, you know what? I excuse me. I wanted to push something out there. It's like, I'm just saying the same old crap over and over and over again. It's like in the past, with previous fantasy authors, J.R.R. Tolkien was the man with Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
And obviously huge respect for him, but he came with a unique perspective and a unique skill set, right? Building a unique world. But a lot of fantasy that came after him, you'll notice, is just kind of like trying to rehash. Like, oh, you got J.R.R. Tolkien, like he's got orcs, he's got dragons, he's got dwarves, he's got elves. Let's just make a story with more of that. Yeah. And not really understanding like the foundationally how that works. But now with fantasy, it's more towards trying to be like George R.R. Martin, the guy who made the Song of Ice and Fire, upon which the Game of Thrones TV series is based off of. So they're like, oh, okay, fantasy needs to be gritty. And in their minds, it's like, we got to have a lot of sex and a lot of gore. It's just like you can imagine like chomping a cigar. It's like, oh, boss, we got to make the series good. What do we got to do? Throw in a sex scene. That's how they do it.
On screen. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's without understanding really why what George R.R. Martin did worked, right? He had a certain method and they just don't get it. And so for me, it's just like wanting to make stories that went away from all that and brought something fresh and unique and predictable. And so initially I wanted to write them as novels, but then I realized, oh man, a lot of the, millennial people and people younger than them, they don't read prose as much anymore. No judgment, everyone has, different strokes for different folks, but I can't just be like writing novels and people not wanting to read it. I'm like, okay, well,
it's a tough business on the novel.
It's a tough business. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, I gotta do what I gotta satisfy the people. And so I'm like, let me do comics, because I was always a fan of comics, particularly manga. So I'm like, let me try my hand at that. I had no idea how to do it. So I went to Seattle Comic-Con. This is during COVID, so everyone was masked. And I'm like, let me look for artists. And, I was just like going through the artist alley, and, like, okay, I need to figure this out. And I'm like, the first thing I probably need to figure out is like, okay, I have the stories in mind, but I need an editor, somebody who really knows the comic book business. Okay. And search around, didn't really find anybody who worked out. I asked a particular writers, like, hey, you got any editors? And she mentioned somebody who I won't mention here because it's not cool. But I did a little bit of research into the editor that she recommended, and that editor is a disaster. That editor would be like guaranteed to destroy my stories. But eventually, I found somebody, and me and him, we were able to.
You don't want to be Disney-fied?
Huh?
You don't want to be Disney-fied?
I don't want to be Disney-fied. Listen, if I want to be Disney-fied, I want to be Disney-fied in the good way, the Walt way.
Right, in the old school way, man. Not even the old school.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I got in my hand my editor, Aaron Sparrow, who I don't know if you heard about Aaron Sparrow. Speaking of Disney-fied, he actually was a comic book editor at Disney and other houses. And with him, we were able to build a dream team. So we got artists, and just from there we ran with it, right? And so even though this is my first go, I kept rewriting until I got it right, so that I don't want to be pushing crap onto my audience. And so even though it's the first go, it's been through a rigorous development process. So when people read it, they'll enjoy it.
I think a person that is serious about their craft and making it, getting it done. So are you like local with your team? Who is the rest of the team? I mean, like, talk about this cover here, man. Start talking to us about this world. Who are these cats here? That art is dope, man. Dig it. Okay,
so the artist, yeah, he's Aurelio Mazzara. He's based in Sicily. He's based in Palermo, Sicily. He's like Italian, not like Brooklyn, like not New Jersey Italian, like Italian.
He's the real deal.
Yeah. And he's really good. He's really good. He's not too well known, but hopefully with this, he's actually literally a comic book professor. There, you got a comic book school in Sicily, and he's a professor there, teaching in the next generation of comic creators. Yeah, it just for various reasons he never had a big break on the U.S. side. Hopefully this will be his, because you could see the art, damn. And the reason I really liked Aurelio is that his art resonated. I was looking for that Castlevania like manga type art style that was still not cutesy and big eyes, but still like gave that feel, right? Because I'm a huge fan of manga, like I said, Berserk, probably one of my favorite comic books, East or West. And so I was like, okay, I got to find somebody who can resonate with that style, and who also likes horror, because this is fantasy, but I mentioned it's dark fantasy. So there's a lot of horror elements. You see Tahsin, the guy with the gun there, he's a coward.
And from his face, your artist emotes well. You could tell that he's scared.
Yeah, he's a coward. And the guy behind him is Koja, who's a badass Ottoman janissary. And the very first that lesser evil story that I talked about, that grayscale silent story, that actually goes into a bit of Koja's backstory. And he wasn't always a badass. It's kind of tragic. When I told Aurelio about it, he's like, "This is very sad." he just wanted a backstory of Koja kicking butt. But I'm like, no, we gotta, we gotta do some character development here. We gotta show, like, people aren't born badasses; they're made.
Yeah. So, please, brother, don't just make them a fucking badass from the get, and then maybe 50 issues down the line. Well, here's a little something. No, cut that out. Build exactly, that story, baby. I love me a good story. You're already selling me really well on this, bro. Then look at that. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
You just mentioned dog. Here we go. I mean, look, this guy, look, he just slaughtered a whole army right here. I love it.
Yeah, this is him. Like these are. Shit. Yeah, he just slaughtered a bunch of Crusaders here who just,
Hey! No one slaughters the Crusaders.
Well, look, you're the good kind. You're the good kind of Crusaders. Yeah, and this is a cover. And by the way, all these covers are all works in progress. They're in all in the production design stage. So we're gonna logo credits, all that sort of thing. But I just wanted to really show off some of these guys to you. Yeah, this we wanted to go with this one. This is actually Aurelio's professor, Luciano.
Okay.
And we said, hey, Luciano, for this cover, we want you to do an old school, pulpy kind of retro cover, the kind of cover that people don't see too much anymore, right? Just like, like from like the bad old days where it's like, there's that call to action where it's like, oh, the juggernaut shows up. What's going to happen next? That sort of thing.
What happened here? I'm digging now. This.
So this is a very old school pulpy cover, just kind of giving you an idea of like, you might not know too much about the story, but just like looking at it, it gives you vibes. And if it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, you can go, read something else. And so I really like this cover. It's really
cool. Me too. I am digging the shit out. And then we have one more cover, folks. Oh my God! This one. They call this one the splatter cover, so I'm excited because I haven't seen it. I uploaded it without even looking.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn!
Yeah, this
crazy.
Yeah, this is the splatter cover, and this is another one of Aurelio's teachers. This is
another. You got Italy on lock, man. You got Sicily in this. You know what I mean? Like that, bro.
Man, the only people who aren't working on this comic book with me from Sicily at this point are the mafia. I'm just So yeah, this is a splatter cover, and this is another one of Aurelio's teachers, Marco Failla. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. Now, Marco is actually pretty well known in the comic book world. He's worked a lot with Todd McFarlane.
Okay.
And so if you look him up, you'll see a lot of his work there. He's worked everything. And I'm like, just said, hey, Marco, I'm looking for a blood and guts Conan the Barbarian style splatter cover. And this is what he came up with. And I'm like, damn.
That's right. Yeah,
and for this one, this was a challenge to color because there's just so much red and so much blood. Like we had to do a couple of coloring passes on this. The colorists are from Italy as well, by the way. They're students of Aurelio.
He locked down the school.
Yeah, right.
The Brotherhood of Wolf is real, folks. That's the name of the school, actually.
Yeah, but yeah, this is like, but they were able to get to something where they're able to hit it out of the park, and you can just see like literally the blood, the guts, the viscera. It's like, it hits.
Gore.
I love it.
Give me some gore, folks. I'm always loving it. I also got the website, guys, so check this out. So, I've been showing it off throughout the show. As we speak. It's right there below now. But again, this is what it is. So why pay people who hate Islam to entertain you? Okay, that's a big bold statement. Because as soon as I say, oh, damn, my man is going for the throat. So talk about that now. Talk about that journey of yours, and what do you mean by that specifically?
Well, here's the thing. So Dr. Jack Shaheen, he wrote a book called Real Bad Arabs, How Hollywood Vilifies a People, right? And I got some stats in here just to because for me, I can make all sorts of claims, Al, and people are like, okay, where is this coming from? So major academics have been talking about like how Muslims specifically have been portrayed by Hollywood as like a backwards terrorist cult, right? Yeah. And Jack Shaheen, who's no longer with us, he was a professor of mass communications at Southern Illinois University, and he released a book, Real Bad Arabs, How Hollywood Vilifies a People. And it kind of shows just like how Hollywood shows not just Arabs, which is like an ethnic group, but Muslims in general as heartless, brutal, uncivilized, religious fanatics. Yeah. Even these old school movies like Muslims kidnapping, they're riding on their camel and they kidnap or they rape Western women, just hating everybody, having all this oil wealth but not knowing what to do with it because they're so dumb. And his research showed that there was around 1,000 movies with Muslim characters made between the year 1896. 1896. This is when movies first were invented, right? So between 1896 and the year 2000, only 12 of those 1,000 movies portrayed Muslims as just normal human beings, not necessarily heroes, just normal human beings who don't kill and rape and whatever. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so for me, it's just like, I mean, Muslims are like anybody else. If they keep seeing, seeing stuff like this on TV, it aggravates them. And like, well, is
Yeah,
it just going to be like this? And my thing is,
it puts these negative thoughts into people's minds when they start seeing, people that are different.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, like there was just to show you how like bad it is, how like powerful, media can be in brainwashing people. Like, Aladdin, there's this fake city called Agrabah, right? And I actually had a funny conversation with some coworkers, like, hey guys, I'm going to take some vacation, and I'm going to be going. Where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Agrabah, which is like the fake city in Aladdin, the Disney movie from the cartoon. Yeah. And they literally believed me for a sec, and they literally like had to look it up. They'd be like, are you telling the truth? And they literally had to look it up to say. Anyway, but like a poll was done like in 2015 that showed about 30% of, I think, Republican voters supported bombing Agrabah, the city, which is a country that doesn't exist. They made it up in Aladdin, right? So even though we speak like, they feel like this stuff doesn't really matter, it does. And so for me, it's just like, okay, instead of just complaining and bitching about Hollywood all the time, let me make something of my own.
There you go.
But here's the thing. It's not enough just to make it and say like, hey, Muslims, I made it. Enjoy. And it's got to be good, right? It's got to be something that even if you're a Muslim, even if, like I said, even if you're a Satanist sacrificing goats and doing God knows what, if you like fantasy, you'll like this. So for me, it's just like, no, it's not enough just to like, have a story that kind of is set in like the Muslim world. It's got to be good. It's got to be something that anybody who likes the fantasy genre, who likes horror, who likes action can go in there and be like, oh man, that scratches that itch.
There you go. I'm digging it. Now let's get back to this website here, because you guys got to see what's popped up. Wrong one. There we go. Took off technology. But we go look at some of that. Like you said, that black and white art in the background. Wait, who is this? Look like an evil mother.
Oh yeah, that's Cardinal Caesarini. And let me see if I can give you like the folder within the folder that I shared with you.
Yeah, you gave me a folder within a folder, not the whole.
Yeah. Let me give you another folder that kind of gives you a bit more of the good juice. A bit more of the real stuff.
They're waiting for it, and I'll put it on. But
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, to answer your question, that is Cardinal Caesarini, right? And he is actually a real life historical figure. There you go. He's a real life historical figure who kind of was part of the Crusades against the Ottomans. And, he died. He died in a battle. But in my story, he survives, and he's up to some occult stuff, right? So like if he's unable to beat the Ottomans with like swords and steel and gunpowder, he'll find other ways to beat them. And if it means using some demon help, then so be it. And so that's what we see a little bit of in the first issue.
Gotcha. All right, you sent me a whole bunch of stuff here. So which one am I looking for the?
Just whatever you want, my friend. Whatever you want. Whatever.
Mac 2 stop line. You got David, man. You have David. Oh my folks, this is definitely one of my favorite artists here. I cannot believe. Oh my God. Yeah, you ain't playing, son. Folks, yes. I'm teasing you guys, right? Let me get this off screen real quick. I gotta do that overlay real quick. Check. Oh my God, you guys are about to get floored. Holy shit, this print up is effing gorgeous. I need me this print like right now.
Yeah. That's something else. But that's beautiful. I don't.
Well, that's what I just sent me, bro.
Is that what I sent you?
That's what I have here. Hold on.
Oh well.
Let's
in
go
the private chat. Put it again.
I'm gonna try.
Anyway, yeah.
That was damn. You got that shit. That's crazy. Hold on.
No worries. But yeah, while you're looking for that, yeah. So essentially, like the what we're looking for is I always want to be surprising the audience. And so there's a lot of twists and turns. Every issue is going to have, this is one issue among several, and every issue is going to have lots of action, lots of twists, but also a lot of character work. So for for the Brotherhood of the Wolf, your typical American comic is around 22 pages. This first issue, issue number 1, is 32 story pages. Issue number 2, which we're working on right now, is 34. and so every issue is going to be between 28 and 32. Obviously not counting the short story that I talked about in the beginning, that's silent and grayscale. And it's not just filling pages. We're really wanting to build the characters, tell the story, give it its due. And that's what we want to do.
Beautiful. And here I got some images I could run down real quick. It's just the first couple of pages. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah, now I see what you're saying, man. You want to bring it, you bringing it. This is no bullshit. Hey, folks, check this out. Let me start from there. Yeah, and boom.
There we go. Yep. So this is the beginning pages. That's Cardinal Caesarini, who we just talked about. This is just the beginning, right? This is actually literally one of the most, there's not a lot of exposition in the story, and this is literally just one of the most expositional pages. But it's not as many word balloons in the other pages, as you'll see if you go a little bit. Scroll down. There we go. Boom.
Look at this splash. Diablo.
Actually, that's a double page spread. That's going to be a double page spread, my friend.
Bro, look at this mother. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And you could see Tahsin, the coward I talked about, he's running away, and he's just not having a good time because he's got a big army of Crusaders, the bad kind, on his tail.
Yeah, man, he's out. Homie over here, all right, just bring it, kids. Let's go.
Yeah. And next to him is the Ottoman. Next to him on the horse is the Ottoman Sultan, and they're looking at it and this isn't looking too good. This is not looking too good.
I mean, if that's all you got, shit. You know what? I kind of went home, man. Hold on, can we think about this a little bit better?
Exactly.
For the love of God. I mean, but just a couple more pages. But look at that. Look how beautiful this color. Hey, I love the letterer. Who's doing the lettering is also.
Oh man, the letterer is DC Hopkins. He's one of the best in the business, and he was really excited about this project because he loves himself some horror. And so when we told him about this, he's like, "Yes, I want in." And here we are. His lettering is great.
A testament to the skill. It's just when I spoke to Janice Chang, she always said the whole thing she tries to do is just not disturb the art. Everything's about placement, right? Look at this word bubble right here. Instead of having the word bubble go behind the head, has it going directly in front, not disturbing the art. The guys, the view of us looking at him. I love that. It's only so simple, but it's craft, yo.
It's craft. I mean, for us, craft is important. It's just not enough to say representation, because at the end of the day, people care about representation, but they care about quality, and that's what we bring to the table.
100%.
And to your point about the lettering, I heard the great Dan Abnett, who wrote a bunch of comic books. He's also probably known for Warhammer. And he says the key thing about the lettering is that nobody notices the lettering. You know what I mean?
But I'm a fan of comics, and I used to appreciate they are underrepresented heroes in the game. That are hardly given credit and their due. So thanks to all those letters. I mean, DC, you're killing it. Look at this. This is the last page I'm gonna show you. I don't want to give too much more, but how fun.
Oh yeah, no, my friend, you could show anything, everything that I shared with you in that folder.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay, only 5 pages. Bet.
Oh my God. You know what's funny? If you scroll up, you see that guy getting his throat slit.
Yeah, man.
So I had a Muslim, a well-known Muslim figure in the community. He reached out and was like, "Hey, your books. I'm very interested. I got a 9-year-old son. Can you send me some samples to see if it's appropriate for him?" And like on my website, I had this image of the guy getting his throat slit, and I'm like thinking, like, what makes you think this is for kids?
Listen, Wes, I like saying this. All the Crusaders already know. But when I was 8 years old, my mama was buying me unwittingly, unknowingly. She thought it was just a comic book, Savage Sword of Conan.
Oh yeah.
So it was in this vein, the stuff you're doing. So thanks to Mom, I'm a big fan of that to this day. And this is why I'm sold on this. I mean, look at the badassery of this mother right here. Holy smokes, bro! Like, you want to think twice before engaging him, even back then.
He's not. He like Kojak represents like the concept of good is not nice.
Excellent. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's what I hate when they try to represent these heroes as being so righteous. But listen, a hero's got to do dirty stuff,
Yeah, 100%.
It's part of the nature of the game, baby.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at that. Oof.
Yeah, this was interesting because this, like, Aurelio went all out on this page. He just like had fun. And for us, this is like, it's just so dynamic. There's so much action going on, like decapitation, guys falling into a ditch with stakes sticking out and getting impaled on the stakes.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh man, reminds me of so many old school horror things. Oh, the poor horse. You killed a horse, bro.
I had to kill the horse. The horses have to go.
They killed a horse in this one. Wes.
Oh yeah. By the way, my friend,
I laugh at the guy. I'm hurt by the horse. Oh man, poor horse.
You know what's funny? In this issue, that's not the only horse that you'll see die.
Oh shit, bro. But you know what? Normally you don't kind of really see the animal die back in the day. Normally you see the people getting messed up. Hardly. This is kind of one of my first times seeing the brutality of that. Damn,
oh yeah.
That's crazy. I love it.
You mentioned Savage Sword of Conan. I got like a trade paperback of one of Chuck Dixon's Savage Sword of Conan, like black and white.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day. And yeah, you're right. It's like that stuff was savage. But to mention the thing about the horses, it's like one of the things a lot of fantasy fans are getting frustrated with. And if you're a fantasy fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is like in fantasy, there's a lot of obviously fantastical elements. So like if you have like elves and magic and stuff, fine. But everything else has to kind of be grounded in reality, right? So this idea of like somebody gets on their horse and they're just riding and riding and riding for hours on end, that's not realistic. The horse's heart is going to just burst and die, or they're riding and riding and they never hit a tree branch, and they're riding through a forest like, Fast and Furious, but with horses.
I mean, imagine they'll probably get hemorrhoids, their ass bouncing on that seat, for hours.
Hemorrhoids and rashes and God knows what, right? And so for me, it's just like, no. We're going to keep this gritty. And so, yeah, there's going to be there's magical elements and occult stuff going on and stuff like that, but it's trying to really ground it in reality and not trying to be gory or, for the sake of goriness, but just saying, hey, this is real life. And when you have dudes and horses running at each other with pointy, sharp objects, stuff is going to happen and it's not going to be clean. And so that's what we're conveying here. And hopefully people enjoy that.
Oh, they better. This is how easy it is for you guys to stay tuned and stay on deck and start making it rain on this amazing poster right here. You go visit the website. The link's below. All right. Tales of Khayr. Right. And
yes,
and you right there, as you can see, you can enter email below on the page. You scroll down just a tad and join the announcement list. So that way you can find out as soon as this is popping off where you can get Brotherhood of the Wolf is ready for sale. That's right. You better support indie. This is what it is. I'm saying, my man is killing it over here. It's the boss.
I appreciate that.
He's changed the game. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. Can I just mention one thing, just so that?
Of course, we're not done. We keep going.
So with the Brotherhood of the Wolf, this is the intention is only floppies, no digital, only floppies, baby. Yeah, and only floppies and just direct to consumer, so right in your mailbox. But here's the thing: aside from the very first short story that I talked about, the Lesser Evil, the grayscale, silent, everything else is going to be limited edition. And so once one issue is printed out, and then we sell that, the second issue is ready. the first issue won't be available, and on down. So you have a lot of incentive to get onto this announcement list, so that if you want to be part of this journey, you can get dibs. Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't cost you any money to be on an email list. And my emails are entertaining and informative, so you lose nothing.
There we go. Show the love to Indy. Sign up below. The link is below too in the show notes. Click away, copy, show love. You heard them. It's going to be fire. They're going to be good emails, especially with great news. And you heard print only. Print only. Gee, I can't wait. I mean, are you going to do this on old school newsprint paper too? Shit. What are we doing?
Well, more to come on that. But the comic books themselves, we're doing the production design right now, and the goal is to have it be on some nice glossy paper. But we're experimenting. Like for me, like this, the short story with the grayscale and the silent, that I literally came up with that just a few weeks ago. I'm like, hey, Aurelia, we're going to do this. And like, my friend, I never done grayscale before. I'm like, congratulations. This is your chance. And so this is his first time actually drawing on paper, because a lot of I'm sure the Crusaders know about this, but most comic book pencilers, they're on digital now. It's rare that you get somebody drawing on paper. For this first short story, Aurelio is going to be drawing it on paper to really get the grayscale going, and like old school manga. And so all to say that we're constantly experimenting. We're not just resting on our laurels. Devotion to craft means wanting to test different things, experiment different things, see how to really push the comic book medium, because seeing guys in harem pants hack each other up is always fun, but also just pushing the art form forward as well is also something that I'm committed to.
Oh, great. So, so what's the overall plan for the universe before we go? I got that one, and then one more question. But what's the overall plan with I mean, how many issues are you thinking? Because right now you said, issue 1 and 2, but in your head or in the universe thus far,
it's a universe. So essentially, what we're building here is like the 15th century dark fantasy Muslim version of the Avengers, right? And so what you're seeing is just like the first of it. Koja, the guy in the mask who you saw, is like one of the main members, or is going to be one of the main members of the Brotherhood of the Wolf. After him, you're going to see like a physician who used to be an assassin. After him, you're going to see like a really arrogant, stuck-up alchemist who gets way over his head and doing some. So anyway, so it's just like you're going to see the cast grow and grow and grow, and the universe grow and grow and grow. So long-term plan, stay tuned, but it's not ending anytime soon. As long as people like it, they'll keep getting stories.
Beautiful. And as this starts kicking off, what's your convention schedule looking like this year? You're going to be making any appearances anywhere, and showcasing it in person and meeting the fans?
You know what? At this point, probably not, just because, I just need the people who like this are so distributed that going to your average, your regular Comic-Con and buying a table and stuff like that doesn't make sense as of right now, which is why got to keep emphasizing, get on that email list to keep getting things. And as the things develop, I for sure want to be tabling at the conventions like anybody else. But for now, that email list is the key thing to keep updated and keep in touch.
You got to show the love, folks, right there. I'm showing it. It's also, again, as I said in the show notes, Wes, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, introducing the world you're building to my fellow good Crusaders over here, my comic Crusaders. Much love with that. Appreciate it. As a fan to creators, thank you, brother, for putting out your vision and trying to right a wrong that you saw, and injustice, and showing some good out of the stories, from people in your country, which is great. Like, I want to see some from mine, but I'm happy to read all about. I'm so excited to read what's popping off over there, and the stories you've created along with your team. Again, it looks like a beautiful book, folks. Shit, again, I'm going to show the cover just one last time. over here. I'm not gonna, should I show the gory one? No, let me
whatever you want, my friend. Whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. Look at that. Look at that dopeness right there for a nice, beautiful manga feel. Then you got the man standing tall, about to kick some ass. So, and mine something he must either be the Thor or the Captain America of the Avengers. Let's see, right? And then we got that one. We're gonna slice and dice, baby. Woo! You ain't playing. And you see, they ain't playing. It's a beautiful, gorgeous book. Make sure you check it out and buy it. Stay tuned. Join that email list, folks. It's right there. All right. With that, it's Wes. It's Al Mega. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Much love. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.